want to take some time out to talk about my latest album, which was released on Friday, 14th of June, and it's called A Detective for Sale. It's unusual in that I wrote it for a film noir that was released in 1952 that was a made-up movie. So I made up a story, and then to go with the story, I added in the music for various scenarios. I had a couple of rules when I was making the album for the last year, which was, first off, I wasn't going to use any sort of latter-day technology, sounds, sequences, electronic devices, and I wanted to make it very much sounding like it was released in the 1950s. So I was using traditional instruments all the way through. And the other rule was I was going to make it good. So I'll just talk through the first track, which is imaginatively titled "Opening Credits." Maybe I should have thought about that one. So "Opening Credits" is very much a homage to Chinatown. It's that kind of like sweeping, romantic, epic music. I absolutely love the theme to Chinatown, so I wanted the film to start with something like that as the credits are rolling. The next track is called "A New Case," featuring xylophone. Just the xylophone, I felt, kind of gave it sort of an off-kilter, edgy nervousness to the scene, which I wanted to convey when the lady, Mrs. Jean Cliff, comes into the office of our hero, and he notes that she's quite nervous. So I thought this would give it that. The third track is "Chase in Manhattan." It's probably my favourite one on the album, and weirdly enough, it's the first time my saxophone actually appears on the album. Lovely horn section there. I did a lot of air punching when that worked out, but it's a very authoritative track. I composed it with the mind of someone who knows their role, who knows their territory, who is on the prowl, knows how things work, and I wanted something punchy and confident to put that across. Friends and Favours is kind of a bit of a free track. It's very much kind of like no rules to make up for the scene in which anything goes. You can say what you want, but this is how it is. And then I had a bruising encounter. Not personally. The track is called "The Bruising Encounter." It's I was very aware that a lot of these film noirs always have fights where the detective gets beaten up. So I thought I would break that rule. So I had to have a scene where the detective gets beaten up, and so I did. So I wrote something that's been kind of like bam, bam. Yeah, that hurts. Then I moved on to another track called "Whiskey and Comfort." I'm a major whiskey fan, and I committed the crime of putting an E in whiskey because I wanted this kind of a American feel to the titles as well. "Whiskey and Comfort" is the love song of the film, and this is got to have a cheesy saxophone in, and luckily I do play a cheesy saxophone, so very much enjoyed putting that together. So that's my cheesy love song. Then "Back to the Day Job" is very much kind of like, yeah, we brushed this off. We've got, it's business as usual, before we find out that Chase has to go to Casablanca to complete his quest, his quest. That's very Dungeons and Dragons, isn't it? So when I wrote two pieces that were to be set in North Africa, I didn't want to go with kind of like authentic, this is a North African sound, do some research on that because I was writing a 1950s film. I wanted to do a film soundtrack that was written by what Hollywood would think North Africa would sound like at the time. So hence it does sound inauthentic in a way, but exotic. If you listen to it, you'll know what I mean. So that was basically Chasing Manhattan, and also Mr. Cliff, I presume. Jim Cliff's husband was supposed to be dead, giving away a plot twist. Now, my second favourite track on the album is Just for Sale, like all the rest. Very similar to Chasing Manhattan, very mournful horns, where basically our hero discovers that he's not exactly on top of things where he thinks he is. This was a track, actually, it was the last one I wrote for the album after a couple of months of writer's block, so this really helped push the project to a complete. Now You Talk is kind of a reprise of A New Case, but I've replaced saxophone instead of xylophone, rearranged the drums and bass, and it's kind of like a complete circle. I think a lot of film soundtracks tend to reprise their melodies throughout. And then finally, A Case Closed, which I originally was going to call Closing Credits, but now I preferred A Case Closed. So that's very much, again, a reprise of opening credits, different arrangement, but this time with the saxophone. When I was composing it, I very much thought I could see in bold letters the end, and then the credits rolling, and then it fading to black. So that's my new album, and it's available on Bandcamp, so I hope you check it out and enjoy it. As I've said, there is a story running through the album, but I would really encourage anybody who listens to it to come up with their own stories, and which I'm sure can always be better than mine. So hope you enjoy. Thank you.